Meme coin season will come and go, but you should always know how to launch your own token. So let's launch our own Solana token using the Solana token program. Let's go. So first of all, let's get our environment ready. For this, we would need Solana CLI. So let's download Solana CLI suits. For this, you can type this command and press enter. It will download the latest stable version. Let's give it a while. So I have already downloaded it. That's why it is saying that install is up to date. However, when you will do it, it will tell you install completed. Now you must close your terminal and open it again. Literally close all of your terminal and open it once more. Once you have reopened it, type Solana. This will give you a bunch of commands that you can make use of. If we will do Solana version, it will tell me that I have 2.0.20. Perfect. Now we can begin with our project. We can close up the terminal, and I've already created a new project, bought it in my VS Code. Let's begin the project. The first library that we need is Solana/web3.js. This will help us generate a new key pair for our new account, and it will also help us establish a connection with the RPC URL. The next library that we need is FS. This will help us access our files within the project repository. The next library that we need is BS58. This will help us convert our private key into the format that Solana needs so that we can sign our transactions. Let's install all of them. This will be more than enough to begin, and we will be able to create our first Solana wallet. This should be enough. Now let's create two separate files. The first file that we need is wallet.ts, and the next file that we will need is mint.ts. We'll look at Mint in a little while, but first let's create our wallet. For this, I will import a few things from Solana. I would also need everything that is there in FS. And I will also import base 58. Next, we need an endpoint through which we will be able to establish a connection with Solana. This typically means your RPC URL. So for this, I will be using the RPC URL that Solana provides. Let's check it out, how you can get it. For this, you can simply type Solana config get. This will give you a bunch of things here. I need the RPC URL. So I'm going to copy this one, and I'm going to create a new variable and store it here. The next thing, I want to establish a connection with Solana chain. So you can create const Solana connection. And for this, we will make use of the connection that we imported from the Solana library, Solana Web3 library. And this just needs endpoint. That should be enough. The next thing that I want to do is generate a key pair. This key pair is going to hold a public key and a private key. Once you have generated the key pair, we also need to do a little bit of formatting. So we need to convert the private key into base 58 format. It has an encode function. Whatever string that you will pass in here, it will convert it into base 58. So this has an encode function. Within this, I can pass my key pair a secret key. Can simply pass that. And let's log it as well. So now we have our private key in a correct format. Now we are just going to write it within our project directory. Let's call it secret array, and let's convert our secret key to string first. We also want to split it. With a comma. And finally, we're going to convert it into a number. The next thing that I'm going to do is convert this entire string, this entire array, into a JSON format. Now we are going to make use of fs and write this file. So here we are passing the name of the file. We are also passing what we want to put in this file. We're putting it in a UTF-8 format so that it's readable. And the last thing that we are doing is returning a function which will basically try to capture an error. If there are no errors, then we are simply going to return a message to log that secret key generated successfully. Alright, great. This step is complete. So we have our endpoint. We also have our key pair. We have converted that key pair into a specific format, stored that file in a specific place. Now we are going to go ahead and move on to the next step. The next step is to create the wallet and airdrop one Solana token to this newly created wallet. So let's create a function that is going to connect with Solana, and then we are going to request for an airdrop. Request airdrop demands two parameters. The first one is your public key, where it can airdrop your tokens, and the next one is lamports per soul. Now we are going to call this function. We are going to wait for it. If it's successful, we are going to simply log a message. If not, then we will simply pass the error. So catch error log error. Yep, That should be enough. We are getting some errors here. Let's resolve that. Okay, semicolon missing, little spelling mistake. Let's fix that. All right, perfect. We also need to add one tsconfig file so that it can interact easily with our files. And you also need to uncomment one thing, resolve JSON modules. Yep, let's uncomment that. In this way, it will be able to interact with our JSON files. Now let's finally run our code. Let's do ts node wallet.ts. Alright, public key is generated, our private key is also generated. Here you will be able to see a new file was created, secretkey.json. That's perfect. Alright, great. So our step 1 is completed. Now our next step is to create and mint a new token. For this we do need certain more libraries. First of all, let's install that, and then I will tell you how you can create your own Solana token. So the libraries that we need today are these specific libraries. Let's do yarn add. There's one library called Metaplex Foundation UMI bundle defaults. First of all, we need this one. The next that we need is Metaplex Foundation UMI. And another one that we need is MPL token metadata. This will allow us to add all of our metadata for our token, like name, symbol, or the image of it. Let's add all of them. Let's give it a second. Alright, so now let's come to mint.ts and let's import a few things. So we want to import Metaplex UMI. Metaplex UMI. What do we need from this? We need a percent amount, generate signer, signer identity, and create signer from key pair. We need a few more things from MPL token metadata. So this will allow us to set our token standard. And from this one, we are going to use a create and mint function that is ultimately going to launch our token. And we would also need MPL token metadata. So this will be a customized JSON file which we are going to use to create our metadata of our token. The next thing that we need is create UMI from, of course, UMI bundle defaults. Next, let's use UMI and create a new one using our same endpoint, this one right here, because we are going to launch our token on DevNet. Now, who is going to pay for this transaction? Of course, the wallet that we just created. We also need our secret file, so let's import that. Perfect. Our user wallet is going to be the signer and pay for the transaction as well. Create signer. This needs two parameters. Where do you want to launch it? And who is going to pay for the gas fee? Perfect. Now the next thing is the metadata. Before we jump into metadata, we must realize a few things. The metadata must be publicly available, and usually this is done using IPFS. Now you can use two different things. You can either use IPFS desktop application, which is going to run a local node, but that could be a little bit unreliable. Or you can use some services which is going to pin your files. So for metadata, I'm going to make use of Filebase. Once you have registered yourself, you would see yourself on the dashboard like this. Immediately move to bucket and you can create a new bucket. Give it a nice name. I have given it Solana IPFS, and we are going to keep it public so that it's always accessible. Once that bucket is created, now you can add whatever files that you need for your token inside this one. So we would need two main things here. In metadata, we mainly need to pass three things. The first is name. Second is the symbol. And third is the URI. This URI is the link to the IPFS file, the JSON file, which will hold all the data about our token. So let's name it Takamura. He is the world champion. And the symbol, let's keep it TK. So once you have done that, create a new file called token.json. Now this file will have all the metadata of your token. You will have a name here, like the way we have decided. Let's call it Takamura. It also needs a symbol. So let's keep it TK. Next, it needs a description. Let's keep it world champion. And finally, it needs the URL of the image. To get this URL, you can go to your Filebase bucket and upload this image. I have already uploaded one image. You can check this out here. And if you will open it, this will give me the URL right here. So let's add this as well. Once you have done that also, now once your JSON file is created, now you need to upload this JSON file into this bucket. Finally, we are going to use this URL. Let's open it. Let's copy it, and URI will have the link to our JSON file. Alright, let's go to the next code. So now we want to mint our tokens and generate a signer that will be us. Alright, now we can finally call our create and mint function. I will paste this code right here because it needs a bunch of parameters, and you can also use that same code from the description below. There we go. So we have our mint, who is the authority, we have the name, symbol, URI. We have given a bunch of parameters here, and we need a fungible token. Now our code is ready. Alright, now we are ready to run our code. So for this, ts node mint.ts. Let's give it a while. It does take some time on DevNet. There we go. So we have a success message which is saying successfully minted 1 million tokens, and it also gave us the address of our token. Let's go ahead and check it on SolScan. So now we have our contract address .solana.com. Here you need to switch to DevNet because we have launched our token on DevNet, and now you can paste this transaction And there you go. We have our token Takamura right here. You can see that this is the image that we give it, the current supply, and this was our contract address. Perfect, there we go. So that's amazing. This is how you launch your own token on Solana. If you want to learn more about Solana token program, you can visit this website or you can hit subscribe to my channel and keep learning.